Hello, hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your September 2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a Sun, Moon, or Rising Sagittarius. And before we get started on this reading, please take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram at Onyx Healing if you feel called to. I absolutely appreciate all of the support, all of the shares, all of the comments, everything that you guys send my way. And don't forget, if you're looking to work with me, you can go to onyxhealing.com or just check out the description box, which has everything you could possibly need, including all of the names of the decks that I'm using in this video. All right, everybody. So the way I'm going to be doing this is I'm just going to lay 10 cards out. I don't know what formation I'm going to use for your specific sign, and then we will get into the reading. So I'm going to lay that out now. All right, everybody, let's get started with your affirmator. Confidence. In this moment, I take a step back and look at myself with the pride of a good mother. I see an abundance of abilities and talents that show up all the time in big and little ways. If I could stick myself on a refrigerator, I would. I would invite all the neighbors over and say, look at that. Can you believe what an A+ that is? Okay, so working on focusing on your strengths, focusing on things that are going well for you and that you do well, that is going to be absolute magic for you this month. So just make sure you're taking plenty of time to soak up all of your accomplishments, to acknowledge how far you've come, and to continue giving yourself the pat on the back that you deserve in any area necessary. Because a lot of the time it's very easy to be critical of yourself, but it can also kind of slaughter your confidence if you're not careful. And so this is a call to, really show yourself some love regarding that. All right, then we have relationships are assignments for optimal growth and healing. This includes the bad ones. This includes the rocky relationships. This includes the dysfunctional ones. A lot of growth and learning comes through friction and the relationships that might not be the absolute best. So this is an opportunity for growth and healing in terms of whatever relationships might be coming up, or maybe you're healing from a past relationship. Remember, that healing is what perpetuates growth, essentially. So they go hand in hand in that way. So wherever you're at, whether you be in a healing process or maybe you're repairing something because a relationship is going really well, regardless of what it is, just know that it's so important for you to walk through that experience at this point. And then the animal for you is vulture. Maybe you are kind of recycling old things because, these are, I can't remember what they're called, because I think flies and worms are in the same category as vultures and hyenas because they eat, they help with the decomposition process of other living organisms. And so for me, when I'm reading this for you, it really looks like you're recycling, like you're reusing a lot of either old ideas, old content, old lessons, old whatever, old sources of inspiration. That might be something that's coming up, or this is simply a time when you're going to be seeing a lot of reflections that really help build your confidence around old things that you've been through. It's kind of a rehashing energy, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. It might just be that you're recognizing how far you've come and all of the stuff that you have healed and grown through. All right, let's check out the central energy. The World. Let me check the crossing energy before I give you guys my thoughts on that. And we have the Page of Cups crossing it. So in order for you to really bring the cycle to completion, you have to understand your emotions around it. So you can't ignore the emotional component or the original wound or the core feeling. So that's the important piece. Some of you might be going through the experience of having that old wound come up and working through it, processing it, and allowing that cycle to come full circle. That's what the world represents. For others of you, this is about understanding what it is that you feel internally, what that experience is, what your heart is calling for, and then executing on that so the cycle can come full circle. So you can actually do the damn thing, take the necessary action in order for you to actualize the thing that you desire, whether that be relationship, professional, platonic relationships. I mean, it doesn't really matter what category you're in. You just have to understand the internal experience, the internal world, the emotions are what's going to guide you and give you the information you need to move forward in a good way. And then we have the Six of Knives. A lot of forward movement is happening, whether you can feel it or not, because part of the issue as you're moving forward and as you're making progress, it's very hard to evaluate how much progress you're making when you're in the thick of it. You can't really see accurately how much progress you're making until after the fact. So work on not judging yourself in the moment. That's what the confidence card is reminding you. Do not judge yourself prematurely without seeing where things are going. That's what the world is reminding you of as well. Let's see what else we have going on. The Knight of Knives. It's safe for you to do things your own way, even if you're experiencing a little bit of fear around pursuing something or doing things that are a little bit against the grain. You can look at it like this. If you do your own thing, even if it's not the conventional way or the traditional way, worst case scenario, you fail and then you have that information that strategy doesn't work. It's not that bad. Best case scenario, it works. And then you get the information that it's safe to trust yourself and do your own thing and that strategy works for you. So try to lower the stakes around experimenting and taking risks that the Knight of Knives or the Knight of Swords would do. Because this is about carving your own path, like going against the grain, doing something unconventional, kind of just moving to the beat of your own drum is what the Knight of Knives does. So just take that into consideration if you're experiencing a lot of resistance around making attempts, then just consider what do you have to gain from that potential growth and from that risk that you could be taking. All right, then we have the Page of Knives. Let me see what else is bundled up with this. Ten of Knives. Okay, I'm gonna clarify these because I feel like this is it's a little story going on. Like there's more to this. There's more going on than what I can just see right here. Whoop. You guys know I don't take flying out cards. I just don't because I didn't set the intention on them. Okay, we have the Hanged Man. So this is actually showing that Ten of Knives is the release of your projections on the future. So perhaps if you have been stuck in the same cycle over and over and over again, that's what the Hanged Man is. The Page of Knives is about deviating and being willing to explore getting out of that cycle. It could be that you've been approaching things the same way or you're doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. The Ten of Knives is saying that's got to go. You need to take a microscope to your habits, understand what your knee-jerk reactions are, practice some self-awareness around what exactly is going on, what are the mechanics of your behavior that's driving the same result. And you have to shake that up or break it down in some capacity in order to get to the next level and achieve the next best thing. And this is a constant process, right? This isn't something that stops. We're constantly in a state of growth. We're constantly in a state of discovering new things and trying new things. And this is an indication that you're going to want to be a little bit more intentional around how you're doing that this month. And don't be afraid to deviate from your patterns and to do something different and try something new. You're going to have to try something new if you want to get all of the benefits that you can out of your growth and healing. If you're just going to do the same thing, the status quo, you will not get to that next bracket, that next level. All right, then we have Judgment. Man, this card has been coming up a lot. I'm almost sick of it. This is the way that this card is showing up in these readings is about the amount of information that you have. So the way that this is playing out for you is that the Judgment card is reflecting all of the knives that you have on the table, all of that intellectual movement, that mental processing that's shifting and evolving. You're not going to know exactly how it pans out until you make the attempt. So a lot of people, their method is they try to think out what that risk is, and then they talk themselves out of it because they think instead of do. If you think yourself to death, you're not going to take action. So that's where you have to get to the place where you actually make an attempt, you take action, and then you evaluate from there. The Judgment card is saying there's a lot of information that's going to come up as you continue to move forward, to push yourself, to make changes. But if you make no changes, then there won't be any acceleration. You're not going to learn. You're not going to have any new data. So that's just the harsh truth, the reality of what's going on. And so that's what the Judgment card wants you to know, is if you think about it and then you think about it so much that you talk yourself out of it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Until you take action, you're not going to get clarity. And then we have the High Priestess, trust your intuition. This is about going with your gut. Your gut is not fear-based. Remember that. That's an important one for you to carry with you. Your gut is your internal knowing. It's your compass. It's your deepest, most compass that you have. And the High Priestess is just saying it's better to go with that than all of this nonsense about I'm thinking about things and I'm contemplating doing things, but it's probably not going to work out anyway, or this is probably going to be the effect. That's a terrible approach for you this month. You're going to have to take some risks. You're going to have to make an attempt. You're going to have to try it out and break out of the status quo. That's what this thing up here is telling you, and you can trust your intuition around that. You can also deny your intuition. You cannot take action, and things can go about exactly the same. You guys know I always bring that up because it's so true. Let's see what else is coming up. We have the Four of Pentacles. This is the I may as well not give it energy, because if I give it energy, it's probably not going to work out. It seems kind of like there's a lot of pessimistic energy in this reading. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, like you are an eternal pessimist. Of course not. But it seems like there is a major risk of getting trapped in your mind, or like spinning your wheels in the mud because of how you're thinking about things. And so let's see what else is coming up. We have the Two of Pentacles. Everything comes down to one decision at a time. Like at its most basic, what do you really have to lose? What are the actual risks? So the way that I'm seeing this is that you are overestimating the negative effects or the negative consequences of things that you could just try and see that are actually very low risk. That's kind of what I mean by pessimism. Is I'm in a habit of denying myself the things that I actually want to do, or I'm in a habit of thinking about things a certain way and it's preventing me from taking action where I want to take action, you know? Okay, and then to clarify down here, we have the Six of Cups. This is nostalgia, relationships, connections with soulmates. So maybe the answer is kind of bouncing your ideas off of a friend, or somebody that you trust, somebody that's going to give you neutral feedback on it. Because the big thing that keeps coming up is do not allow yourself to get stuck within your own mind. That's the biggest thing, because it's going to bring up all this scarcity. No, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. And that's going to prevent you from growing. If you never take any risks, you're not going to grow. So this is where it's like maybe someone that you feel a really strong connection to could be a helpful person to reflect back to you what it is that's going on, or what you're feeling, or what you're weighing out, pros, cons, all of that stuff is going to be helpful with this Two of Pentacles energy. And then just remember that it's about figuring out, does this feel right? Is this working for me? Does this feel in alignment? Good, bad, just kind of evaluating from that place of what is this communicating? What is this communicating? Yes, more please, or no, thank you. So you got to check your yeses and nos anytime the Two of Pentacles comes up. And then we have the Three of Swords. So this is some griefiness. Again, we go back to the Ten of Swords up here and the Page of Swords. It's kind of like when you are in a space of feeling like you're losing things, or you're not 100% certain, or you are frustrated with the way things are, that is the time to start deviating from whatever habits might be coming up for you. That's the time to do it. I mean, there really is no better time than to just say, okay, this is how I'm feeling. The more uncomfortable you are, the more opportunity you have to make changes that could potentially better your life. And that's what the Three of Swords is reminding you. Because remember, I know that a lot of people get angry at the idea of discomfort. Like, they want everything to be peaches and cream. In my opinion, I think that that breeds complacency. I think that if you have the discomfort, it's going to push you to make changes. And a lot of people, without realizing it, will really want change, but they're not, it's like they're not uncomfortable enough to actually make the change. So that's what you have to consider. All right, let's do a 3-card pick. You're welcome to pick a card, any card, ask a question, ask for guidance, whatever you need. If you need more time, pause the video. I'm going to pull card number 1. The Wheel of Fortune. Anything could happen. Some people dread the unknown, which is pretty normal, right? Other people absolutely love it and they can just lean into it no problem. So whatever side of the spectrum you're on, remember that you are in the driver's seat. So you have a lot more power and control over the way things are coming up for you than you might realize, or the way things transpire. So take a little bit of your power back and figure out what adjustments you need to make internally or energetically, how you're kind of falling into alignment with what you truly do want. That's what the Wheel of Fortune reminds us, because the unknown, everything is fair game. So you have to check your energetics first, and the intention and the energy you're bringing into things. And then card number 2, we have the Fool. You've got to take a risk. I know it feels like you're stepping off a cliff. Of course, that's kind of the way it goes. But ultimately, this is a reminder that the only way to truly get where you want to go is to take risks. Try it out. You're going to have to take the plunge at some point. If you don't do it now, when is it going to happen? When are you actually going to create that thing, or take that risk, or talk to that person? And so that's what the Fool is reminding you, is it's like now or never. There's always going to be times to put it off, and then this is your call to take a risk, even if it's itty bitty, teeny weeny, super, super small one. See what happens. Card number 3, we have the Sun. Enjoy yourself, kind of bask in the glow of new potentials, new opportunities, new ways of doing things, new ways of being. That's what the Sun reminds us to do, is to kind of get back to that childlike play and innocence. And so you can absolutely make that happen this month. It might be good to kind of ease some of the anxiety you're experiencing around doing things differently. You're challenging yourself. It's natural to have mental resistance against those things. So this is kind of like, where can you find pockets of play, pockets of fun, pleasure, and enjoyment, and then going from there. All right, everybody, that's all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I know this was an intense reading. I'm very aware of that. But I'm just giving you the real. So until next time, have a beautiful September. Don't forget, check me out on Instagram at Onyx Healing. And if you need to work with me, go into the description box. There's all sorts of goodies down there. And I will talk to you later. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.